Hi, Pete. I'd like to welcome you onto DJ's Denim and Leather Show and hope you're well, sir.
Yeah, I'm very well. This is Pete Wadeson, obviously a guitarist with UK metalist Trojan. I'm here because you're listening to Darren Joyce's Denim and Leather Show. Enjoy, stay metal, and keep it true.
Excellent, excellent. Could you just, for myself and the benefit of the listeners, just tell us how you got into music?
Well, basically, I was no good at school. Just nothing interested me. I was always getting in trouble. I ended up getting suspended, obviously, so things like I weren't academic. And then an older friend of mine, he had a guitar. I must have been about 13, 14. Just used to go around his house. He'd show me a bar chord, and that was it. From then on, when I got hold of the guitar, I just thought, this is what I want to do.
Oh,
and so it's the usual thing where you get a guitar for Christmas. And obviously my parents must have thought like, oh, this will be another 4 months and he'll be bored. I just took to it like a duck to water. Never had a lesson and there was no looking back from there. I just loved it.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So when did you sort of first try to get into sort of like a band environment, if you like?
Well, basically it was, like everybody was picking up instruments then at that time, weren't we, when we were growing up. So it was just a bunch of mates, like, what can I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
So, oh, you play drums, I'm guitarist, and then somebody would come along, they're a bit bassy. So it was just a bunch of mates. And that was about tail end of 81.
Yeah.
And before you knew it, by about early 82, we had formed the first incarnation of Trojan.
Right, okay.
It was at my very first band, straight off. Because, I was writing my own material, and so we just took it from there.
Because I was going to come on to that, when did sort of Trojan first get together? So obviously, yeah, it wasn't long then, and you sort of got the sort of earliest form of the band together then.
Yeah, it was. It was very much like that.
Yeah.
It was just, we just fell into it. We were all into the same bands, and obviously before we got together as a band and like decided on the name and that, I'd been messing around when I was playing with riffs and that, so I already had riffs to like offer up. I already had a few songs written to offer up, so we just went straight in like that, rehearsing over pubs in them days.
Right. Okay. And I have got a few notes here. So 4-track demo. 83, was that the first one?
Well, the most known is the 5-track cassette EP.
Yes.
Which we put out, that will be about 82-ish, late 82, because we real quickly went into a studio and did it.
Oh, okay.
But there was a great response to it. We started selling them at gigs because we were like, there was always a gig to play those days, up and down the M6. It was fantastic. We were having a ball, But we got more serious, and obviously we must have sold out to we sold about 3,000 demos, and that's worldwide. We really did do well.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I know, because we were in how you paid in those days. I keep saying those days, but you know what I mean. Back in the day,
yeah.
People were sending postal orders. You never hear of those now unless you're in prison. And I was thinking, no, definitely. We were getting, and we just got on the back of that. We were getting lots of interview requests, especially from mainland Europe. And so but then, as I'm sure you know, the other members of the band started to lose interest. You know what I mean? It's time to get proper jobs. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I was just determined to carry on, and so that's where you get to the part where it became Trojan as a 4-piece, because I just totally reformed the band from scratch.
Right, okay. So what was the lineup before the 4-piece then?
Well, it was Mick Taylor was the first drummer, and we had Carl Bretherton, he was on drums at one point, and it was Benny Bentham. He was on bass. He sadly passed away now, RIP. Andy Halliwell was the other guitarist.
Yeah.
Vocalist was was Dave Kenyon. He was a character, and there was me guitar as well.
Right. So obviously, all them guys then decided to call it a day.
Basically, I just disappeared into proper jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, who did you bring into the band then, Pete?
Well, I obviously had such wider a field than like the people I knew as I'd grown up with. So first guy was Eddie Martin on bass. Yeah. Then he knew a drummer, so that was Sam Hall. And then the hardest to find, obviously, was Graham, a vocalist. So we found Graham Wyatt. He was knocking around in local bands, and well, not so local, but like when he knew we were getting interest off some labels, it was a no-brainer. And you just joined the bands that were doing something. Yeah, so he came along. We all tried, and within no time at all, we were a 4-piece. I couldn't believe how quickly it got back together.
Yeah, well, you was obviously determined to get it together, and and
the lads came in with drive and enthusiasm as well.
Yeah, and that's most important for anything to work, isn't it? I sometimes probe into the new wave of British heavy metal thing a bit, in as much that I don't think I've ever found a band yet that said, "Oh yeah, we were very much aware of the new wave of British heavy metal when we were playing," sort of thing. They just played their rock and roll, if you like, and
the new wave of British heavy metal scene definitely started around 79. It was a massive movement. And I always think that Trojan, we were at the tail end. And we did say new wave of British heavy metal when we were a 5-piece. But when it got round to 85, we definitely were more speed power metal. So I would not call us new wave of British heavy metal, even though we do get categorised as such a band, which I've got to admit is still an honour, because it was a fantastic period in time, and it's great to be associated with it even today.
Yeah, absolutely. I do say this to all the bands, it is great to be part of it now, all these years later, because it's like a league,
a brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood. Yeah, that's the word.
Competing. I'm sure all of us as bands who came from out of that scene are well aware of that scene, even though we came out of the tail end of it. It's great to be part of the brotherhood, because like you're meeting people that you've all seen each other in magazines over the years, and so in a way you all know who's who in what band, and so it's just a great scene, and there's a great camaraderie.
Yeah, it is. No, you're spot on, absolutely spot on. 85, if I can just move on to 85 then, saw Chasing the Storm released.
Yeah, Roadrunner.
How did that come about then, Pete?
Well, we was obviously, first thing you do as a band, like the new 4-piece, we had a lot to prove. So we did our first demo. I think we had about 3-4 tracks off that. Sent it here, there, everywhere. Sent one to Roadrunner. Now, they were one of the main ones who came back with positive interest. And they actually financed some demos. So they were showing, big interest even from the off. But our writing had changed because we'd got a hell of a better singer. He was putting a bit more melody into it. So there was, I knew we were onto something. So we did that for Roadrunner, and they had no hesitation in offering us a 5-album deal.
Right.
So we signed to them late 84, and before you knew it, we were in the studio down Easy Hire Studios in London with Guy Bidmead, who did Motorhead Exciter. He was a producer of the time.
Yeah.
And so the result was Chasing the Storm, yes.
And obviously that was released in 85 then. So then, Pete, we're going to have a listen to our first track then. Could you tell us what it is, please?
Well, I think a nice one would be Chasing the Storm. It's the title track of the album, but many might not know that it was the last track we wrote for the album. So, yeah, this is Chasing the Storm. It's a banger.
So what came after the album was released then? What were you out doing quite a number of gigs then, were you? Or
Well, we got a management deal, and the thing is, you don't know till you've got a bad manager, do you? But
well,
we did get over to, like say, Europe a few times. We did a tour of Holland, Belgium. Then we did the Whiplash Festival in Belgium with Onslaught, and I think Savage Grace came over from the US.
yeah,
That was a great festival. And so we thought we were on, we were off. Sales seemed to be doing well. It was a worldwide deal. But then there was just no money, no financial backing.
no,
I don't know they really knew how to categorise us because thrash had just taken over. Thrash had come into the country then and taken over the scene. So for a homegrown band such as ourselves, rooted in the new wave of British heavy metal,
yeah,
but more speed, power metal oriented, then they were really like, how do we put them out there? Our manager became, it was a waste of time. And so to get out of our deal, that's how the name Trojan was changed, and then we became To Lion. That was 89.
right. That was 89 when you came to Lion. Then,
Yeah.
obviously I've got that in my notes. I just wanted to just touch on before we move on to that for a second. 87. You released a solo outing, Play with Fire.
Oh, yeah, that was my first try to doing some guitar instrumentals.
Yeah,
It was just 4 tracks. It was just very much, I was in, it was all coming from America, all these like virtuosos supposedly, who all they'd done is all gone guitar school. They're all playing the same. And I thought, well, I'll give it my own take, like my own British feel on. I'll just give it a go. So yeah, that was the first time I did a demo with instrumentals, and obviously later on I did another demo of instrumentals.
yes. I'll come on to that because I think that was 95, if my notes are correct.
Yeah, well, it does go like in a big circle.
So okay, so when the band became To Lion, now am I right in saying there was possibly even more of a thrash approach? I say even more. I shouldn't really put it like that. It was more of a thrash approach than Chasing the Storm. Anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, what happened there, Darren, was we just got a double bass drummer, and
Right.
so I got more power. We got more power behind us, and it wasn't a conscious decision to go heavier, to go thrashier.
Right.
It was just the way I was starting to write. So the material I was writing would have been virtually, you could say, Trojan's second album.
Right.
I'd just progressed into that writing style. And yeah, we call it melodic, speed, power, melodic thrash. Because it is a much edgier album, Killing the World. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So why did To Lion split then in the end?
Basically the same thing. We did some fantastic gigs in Eastern Europe, especially. We did some big festivals. We went to Bulgaria twice, and then we were in the former Czechoslovakia, that's now Czech Republic. We did a massive festival there. It was still under communist rule. It was unbelievable. But the same thing again. At that time, Peaceville were just like selling out to Music for Nations. Right. So a lot was going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about. Basically, again, no financial help. It just all stopped. That was it. From like doing fantastic festivals, big arenas, real arenas, over in Eastern Europe. Coming back, we toured with Slammer now and again. We did a few gigs with, if you remember Slammer.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
They're back on the scene. And it was just the same thing. No support, and you can't work if there's no tour support. So it just came to a natural end.
Right.
Lads, the lads, we were worn out. We were getting a bit worn out by then because it had been a hectic period from 85 to that. You can imagine, can't you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. Definitely. And I'm assuming then around the time that To Lion split. Then is this when you had your second instrumental out in? Then was it?
Well, yeah, it was, very much like I was like trying to like regather myself. It was just like, no, not again. Again, I was on my own. That's how it felt. So like I thought, oh, sod this. What I'll do, I'll just try doing some more solo material. Because I had it written and I just felt like I wanted to do that. So, drum machine this time, played everything on it. That was called Burnout, and that got sent around, and there was a track taken off that and put on Ball on Strike 2, I think it was on a USA compilation.
Right.
That was the first track that was used off it. That was put into album format by Sonic, and it was something they wanted. I wasn't pushing for it because I was thinking, who wants a guitar instrumental album these days? But I thought, yeah, it deserves it. So I thought, because apparently it's still the first metal guitar instrumental from a UK guitarist. So that was the selling point they were working on.
Right.
So they put, they remastered. I had a couple of tracks that hadn't gone out before. So we put that into a format, and that came out. It's called Metallic Savage, and that's on the Sonic label. Well, it's Cult Metal Classics.
Yes, okay, I'm aware of that label, yeah.
And so I seemed to be heading in the right direction doing that, and I was attracting other musicians, which made me think, right, I'll start forming another band,
So did you form another band then?
Well, yeah, we started forming another band because I found some more new musicians, which was Tony Schofield on bass, and it was Dave Edwards on drums. And so, like, as a power trio, we were like, oh, that was sounding really great. But we could never get a singer.
Right.
So we started messing around, like, basically, it was just like doing some more solo instrumentals. But the writing was getting ready for, like, trying to get a singer into the band.
Yeah.
That didn't happen as much as before we could really get stuck into, like, advertising, and looking or try even poach a singer. It was Neil Kay who approached us, and he was doing his final Metal for Mothers album.
Right.
It was going to be called Metal for Mothers 92.
Yes.
And he said, I've heard this demo, lads. He said, and I want a track. So he came up, did pre-production with us on a track we decided, but ironically, it was a track off the first demo, the first solo demo.
Right,
it was the track Thrill of the Chase. And so we talked about it and said, yeah, of course. It just as long as get the name back out there. So this time it came out under Pete Wadeson band, and that was Thrill of the Chase, and it came out on Metal for Mothers 92, but that was a Japanese only release.
Right, okay.
It was available on import, but only like on the specialist record shops in this country.
Right, okay. So from that period, moving forward then through the 90s into the 2000s, have you carried on playing music? Did you, Pete?
Yeah, I just carried on playing, but it was weird how it happened. A departure was we came to a natural end because we just couldn't get a singer, and I thought, well, there's not much like going on like deal wise for a solo artist, but I was still writing, still obviously playing a lot. But then I got the opportunity to do a bit of writing for some of the rock magazines. So I was writing for Metal Hammer.
Oh, okay.
Metal Forces, you remember that one?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
So I was quite prolific doing that. I was writing for Rock Brigade in Brazil. It was album reviews, band interviews, and in a way, sometimes it was with bands I'd already come across, already knew band members. So that got me into music journalism, which I started doing for quite a while.
Okay then, Pete, time for our second choice then. What will we be having to listen to?
Next one, that's Ice House, one of our favourite tracks. We still play it live. It's one that the singer particularly likes, a bit more down-paced, but there's a lot of power and drive in it. So this is Ice House.
Why shall I go?
I'm moving towards the Keep It True something.
Oh, you mean what led up to Keep It True?
Yeah, yeah,
Right, well, I was very much, seeing a lot of things being reissued. And I knew the copyright had come back to me for my work on Chasing the Storm and Killing the World.
yeah.
So I just punted around to a few people, and then Sonic Age, who were based in Greece, they were all over it. They collaborated with me. They said, yeah, we want to reissue these. We'll remaster them, put them out with, have you got any extra tracks? And we did have live recordings. One for Trojan was live at the Dynamo. I think that was 86.
Yeah.
And a live recording in Bulgaria for Lion, which was at the Plovdiv Amphitheatre, which is it's a really well-known venue now, that. Beautiful place. So that was put on with that. So both came out as double CDs.
Right, okay.
And that caught the attention of the organisers at Keep It True.
Yeah.
Out of the blue, there was emails backwards and forwards. How do you fancy, playing the Keep It True festival? Well, that was a no-brainer.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
We all talked, I talked to, because I kept in touch, obviously, with a few of the lads.
Yeah.
I said to Graham, I said, what do you reckon? He said, well, which rehearsal studio we're going to? That's how it happened. But the other two lads, they weren't as enthusiastic, unfortunately. So that's how we came to get the two new members we have now. Right. And that's Steve Hanks. He's on bass, and we got Dave Edwards on drums. But can you see how there was a connection? Because Dave Edwards played on The Thrill of the Chase for Next for Mothers.
Right, okay.
So I already knew him, gave him a phone call. He said, I'm there.
Yeah,
so we learned about 4 or 5 tracks, and it was like we'd never been away. And we had 2 new members in the band, so it quickly came together. And our first gig, unbelievably, was the Keep It True Festival.
Well, I have been twice myself, Pete, and I can hear it in your voice. It's an absolute stunning affair, isn't it? It's
the organisation is so amazing.
Yeah.
The kids, you can't say kids anymore.
No.
The people who attend the festival, they just love it. It's like an iconic event in the calendar.
It is, isn't it? It is.
And it was such an honour to us. Because, and the people who came up to us, old and new fans. There was fans who remembered us from old. There was fans with bootleg T-shirts on. Now we've got official merchandise, but how everybody got bootlegged and then, now, because you were supposedly not active. And we were meeting people. People were coming from Japan to KIT.
I know, it's unbelievable.
They regularly go, don't they? We did, and that's when we knew, oh God, this is a big, big deal. And we hadn't gone on then.
I know.
Oh, it's a bit important, this. And it was fantastic. It was a fantastic gig, and I can't thank them enough. Oliver and all the crew. The crew were fantastic.
Yeah.
And especially the audience. It was just, they were with us all the way through. It's up there on YouTube for anybody to watch. And I look back at that, and you could. It's like we've never been off stage.
Yeah, and you're spot on. It is absolutely fantastic, and like you say, they're queuing all the way around the room to get to have a photo or a signing, or
Well, there was a signing session before, as you know.
Yeah.
And the stuff they were bringing was memorabilia from the past.
Yeah.
And we were like, I can't believe you've kept this. It'd be like a little flyer or a poster. Can you sign this as well? And a lot of people had bought the reissues, which were fantastic. And they also had the original, the originals.
I know.
So the signing session overran. And then I think we had about 10 minutes to get ready before we went on. Because we'd lost track of time. Road manager at that moment, he was like, "Come on, you've got to play as well." So it was fantastic.
Brilliant. What I want to ask you now is, if I've got this right, have you now decided to just go with Trojan now as it stands moving forward?
Yeah, definitely moving forward. It's Trojan,
right?
But we're still playing 1 or 2 tracks off the Killing the World album by Lion, because like they still stand out.
Yeah.
But now we've been writing new material, and that's being integrated into the set.
Right.
Obviously, like there's stuff that we do need to take out the set. So yeah, moving forward, it's definitely Trojan.
Okay. Right, I'm going to move on now to something that's quite dear to my heart at the moment. Well, it has been for some years now, Mayfest. Now,
oh yeah,
you've been booked to play Mayfest next year.
Yeah, we're honoured. Brian got in touch with us. He loved the stuff when he heard it. You know, he did some reviews, and he said, "Oh, I've just got to have you on one of our events."
Yeah.
Didn't really expect it to happen so soon, but yeah, for 2024, we'll be at Nuneaton.
Yeah, I mean, you may not be aware. I've just played it with my band, and I've got to say, you know, absolutely stunning day.
But it's like a brotherhood.
Yeah,
isn't it? You know,
it is.
All credit to Brian for what he's created, and I think he is going to go on to create a really good independent metal festival. He already has. You know, it's got so many followers, and like it's amazing that even the Mayfest, it gets people from all over Europe.
It does.
That they come over, don't they?
It does.
Fantastic.
And the thing is, Pete, and you know this, well, just as good as I do, if not better. Unfortunately, I've said it time and time again in interviews. We kind of, well, we have turned our back on this music, you know. Whereas on the continent, it's massive, you know, in South America and other areas of the world. I just feel that Brian's doing a sterling job in getting people to, because a lot of events can't get ticket sales, basically, you know.
No, true, you know.
So
it's like clubs, you know, like they're doing like door deals, and it's getting harder for bands to play. So, you know, he did go out on a limb even to get it going from the off, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But to get to the position he's got it now, it's fantastic. But like you say, yeah, you know, we have to go to mainland Europe, Sweden, you know, up to the Scandinavian countries, and like you say, Latin America. You know, man, you know, it's a massive. Metal's still massive there.
It is.
You know, and Germany, obviously, you know, is like the homeland of it.
Oh God.
You know, it's sad to see that we spawned so many bands, and the scene really did decline. But now it seems on the rise. You know, there's a lot of bands who are trying to get out back again. Get around.
Yeah, I agree. It is on the rise again, and bands have got back together and they're doing it again, and it's fantastic to see. It's fantastic to see. I just hope that they get the rewards that they deserve. You know.
Yeah, it's just hoping that the people will turn up. You know. It's not exorbitant at the door. You know. So yeah, you know, people should be. Well, hopefully. You know, the fans will start supporting these events.
Yeah.
You know, then we'll get a better scene going again.
I suppose I have got to touch on what we went through over the last couple of years. I think it has knocked people. Hopefully now they'll be gaining confidence again, and they're prepared to, you know, to come out to venues and what have you. So, you know, I suppose we need to touch on that. But you know, through the COVID time was
COVID.
Very...
Well, and you know, no pun intended, but COVID was a killer for all businesses and people.
Yeah.
You know, but businesses like, you know, the hospitality gigs. You know, oh man, you know, we had a bad time. You know, there's clubs even in mainland Europe have had to close because the turnouts, you know, were so poor when things started to open up.
Yeah.
Because when we're mentioning the KIT festival again, we were booked to play, I think it was the 2021,
right,
and it kept being put back.
Yeah.
So we were waiting, you know, to play it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bad time all over the world.
It was a bad time, of course, and we know that, and you know, hopefully we're recovering from it now. Music wise, obviously, you know what we're saying. Okay then, Pete, time for our third piece of music then. Could you tell us what we'll be hearing?
Bring On the Night was a track that was left off the original version of Chasing the Storm. That was after we'd discussions with the producer. It was strange that it got left off, because now, to me, it's one of the better tracks to have ended the album. And it came out, it's only available on the reissues. There's lyric video on YouTube for people to see. And this is a really fast-paced one. This is more how we are now as we're going forward. And this is Bring On The Night.
Midnight feels right, the only time I like. All night, city lights, now the time is right. Don't try to stop me or stand in my way. Take all my chances and live for today. Bring on the night. Bring on the night. Bus fights, street fights, tempers running high. City girls running scared, trapped in the heat of the night. Don't try to stop me or stand in my way. Take all my chances and live for today. Wow! East End, West End, red lights burning bright. All night, street fights, now the time is right. Don't try to stop me or stand in my way. Take all my chances and live for today. Bring on the night. Wow! Bring on the night. 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 The night, the night, the night, the time is right. The night, the night, the night, the night.
One question I always like to ask, have you got a message for the fans out there, Pete?
Just hopefully that they'll stay true to the bands that have slogged around the country. They'll accept us again. They'll come out to the gigs. They'll support bands by buying merchandise. Because that's the only way that you can keep getting out and playing your own gigs. And just support the scene. Hopefully, because we do try. Yourself. As bands, we work our nuts off. We do, not to put it too lightly. We really do put the time in, and so it's great. It's great to see people out again. It's great to see metal fans again. And what can I say? Yeah, it's just that's it. Just please make the effort, get out, see your local bands. Support the scene. Anything.
Yeah. No, well said, Pete. Well said. Right then, Pete, I'd like to thank you for taking time out and talking to me on the DJ's Denim and Leather show, and obviously wish you all the best moving forward, and all the best for Mayfest next year, and any other gigs that we may see you out on the road doing.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's been great talking to you. It's always an honour to be given any sort of attention, and it's great that people will begin to listen to the music again. Next year, yeah, we'll pencil in for quite a few festivals. We're already confirmed for the Helicon in Poland, and we'll be at the Headbangers Opener in Germany. So thanks a lot, Darren. And it's fantastic you're doing these interviews, because it's helping a lot of bands. Yeah, and you're putting something back into the scene again. It's what we need.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. That's very kind words. And I'll hopefully see you soon. All right.
Horns up, my friend.
Horns up. See you later.
Horns up. See you, Darren.
This is Voodoo Radio. Voodoo Radio.